Whiskey Alpha 4, Juliet Kilo.
Now I've got the right pen, but I don't have the right in. Whiskey Alpha 4. Give me the rest.
Juliet Kilo.
Juliet Kilo. And what's the name there, sir?
The name is Jerry. Romeo Yankee.
Roger, Jerry. Well, we're hoping that we're going to have a successful recording this afternoon. We have had 3 failures in a row. We went 3 years without any problems, and then we had a power failure and knocked our computer crashed, and the video file was lost. And then we had a second one at the end of the Qso. We had no file. I'm not sure what that was, but we're thinking that possibly this recorder program may have been affected by the crash. And this is not a standalone recorder program. It's embedded in 2 other programs. So we have uploaded all 3 programs again, and so we keep our fingers crossed, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. DX3000, and got a house tied to it, directly feeding it with.
Roger, I was just looking around for an SDR or something on that last transmission. I still copy you best on my my local antenna. We are located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio. And so I am copying you mostly best on my local antenna. And so repeat your radio again, please.
Yeah, it's a Yaesu FTDX3000. And feeding it with a Heil 10 microphone grip.
Oh, roger that. Well, I would suggest one of my pet peeves is always a little brighter audio signal if possible. I would crank in maybe a couple of dB more top-end EQ just to add some articulation to the audio and some, a sibilance to be able to hear what's being said more easily than just being able to hear, a less articulated signal. Roger?
Okay. Well, when you say all that, it kind of gets gibberish, but I'm not sure on the EQ, mic EQ, what I would increase or decrease to bring the highs up. Let's see. I've got the frequency at 100, the EQ level at 10. The EQ width at 3, and the frequency at 700. Should I raise the frequency up?
Well, the main thing is that you're in your widest possible mode. Is that correct? To 100 to 2900?
Yes.
Roger. That's the main thing. A lot of people are under misconception that if they're trying DX or stuff like that, that they have to restrict that bandpass. And what happens is when you start restricting your bandpass, you lose that top end, which is so important for articulation. So you want to be in the broadest form that you can be, 100 to 2900. Now, on your EQ, is that a 3? What radio are you running? Okay, and is that a 3 dB, 3 EQ, or a 2 EQ control?
Good needle line. I'm not positive. It's got a mic paired. I'm not running the mic processor. I'm just running straight into it with a mic EQ. I don't have a processor compressor on.
Roger. Now, we do usually suggest engaging that compressor at about a 3. It's just barely in there, but it does exactly what it needs to do. You'll never hear it operating at a 3, and that's the whole idea. When you hear a compressor working, they're cranking in too much. A 3 out of 10, you'll never hear that compressor actually working, but it is part of the fattening process. The other part of that fattening process is if you go to your ALC meter and adjust your mic gain to where your ALC meter is reading a mid-scale to 2/3. When you do that, then you should have about a 3 dB dynamic range in your audio, Roger.
Okay, well, let me look. Let's see, that's about where I'm at right now. Just a little bit over 50% with the processor on.
Roger, Roger. Now, you might check out a windscreen for that mic, or what mic is that?
No, it's a Heil Fin. It's got the screen in it and everything. It's all there.
Roger, I thought I heard a little transient there, but you might want to work that just a little bit further away, maybe an inch or inch and a half. Roger, I don't know how close you were to it.
Yeah, I had moved forward when I turned the processor on, so I was probably a little bit too close.
Roger, and you look like you might be hitting that ALC a little hard. I just hearing it as a little peak rip. You might pull your audio level down just a little bit, but do that looking at your ALC meter, Roger.
Okay. Back it down where it's just barely. Take down a little bit more. There's about 50% on the ALC, so that should be about right.
Yes, sir. Sounds a lot better. It was kind of getting ragged on the peaks the way it was before. So mid-scale to 2/3, I find, is just a perfect reading for most ALC meters. And again, on your EQ, I would crank in. What's your top end EQ? What frequency is that top end?
Top end's at 3200.
Excellent. I would take that 32 and what is it, a 10? I mean, do you have capabilities up to a 10 on that? How is that marked?
Well, to be honest with you, I couldn't explain it to you because it's the way they've got it set up. It doesn't necessarily equate to anything. I mean, right now it's the EQ3 frequency is at 3200 and that is 10. And then you have a 2 at 7, and you can go backwards from there. So I'm not sure we're looking at 3 or 1.
Roger. Well, I would adjust the top end EQ +2 from where it is. That's what I'll do. +2 from where it is up. Roger.
Okay, you talking about on frequency or the level?
On the EQ control, we want to brighten the audio just a little bit at 3200 by adding 2 clicks more EQ than what it has on 3200. And this is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. We are recording now live till 5. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. Right now we're talking with Jerry, and Jerry's going to crank in a couple of clicks more top-end EQ.
Okay, did that help you right there?
Mobile, stand by just a moment, Jerry. Come back and talk to me for about 10 seconds. Tell me about your radio.
Okay. It's a Yaesu FT DX3000, so let's see if that picked up the brightness a little bit right there.
Roger. We have Whistler's mother back in there. Station standby, please. We're working on Jerry for the moment. Jerry, I would back down about 1 click or 2. What's your bottom end EQ?
Okay, how's that right there?
Talk to me for a minute.
All right. WA4JK, testing the audio of an FT DX3000.
Roger, Roger. Now your EQ, are you running EQ about a 3 out of 10 on that, Roger?
Roger.
Okay, and talk to me for a minute. Look at your ALC and just double check again for mid-scale to 2/3 on that meter.
Okay, it's sitting at 50% on the ALC, a little bit over on hard pump, but other than that, it's holding pretty steady at 50%.
Roger, well, your dynamic range looks to be running about 2 dB, so you're in excess of probably 85% average peak modulation, so you're doing real well, Roger.
Well, that's what you want to hear then.
Roger. And I am copying you on my receiver, which is flat down to 100 cycles. And your bottom end is very nice. If I were copying you on one of those SDRs, they have a tendency to roll quite a bit below 150 cycles. But I do have a spectrum analyzer tied to my receiver, so if you check out your recording, you'll be able to see your audio with the spectrum analyzer. And it's just a word of information about that analyzer. It's got 3 little hash marks on it. The one furthest to the left is the bottom end, and that hashtag is at 100 cycles, and then it has 2 at the top, and the first one moving out is 1 kc. Then there is a black line which is 2 kc, and then that final white mark is 4 kc. So you want to be rolling out there somewhere between that black line and that second white line on the right side, Roger.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. When you get this posted, I'll take a listen to it, and then I'll look at slap the O-scope on this thing and take a look at it and see what I'm seeing on my end. And appreciate the time. I enjoyed it. This is brand new radio to me, so. I haven't had a solid-state radio since 1990, and been running homebrew tube-type equipment until about a week ago, so it's all brand new to me. Appreciate the time. This is WA4JK. I'll relinquish the frequency back to you to pick up others.
Roger, Jerry. Now, I would, just out of curiosity, try backing off your mic about 2 inches. I'm not sure where you were, but try about 2 inches away from the microphone, and let me hear that for a minute.
Okay. This is the normal operating position. I'd lean forward, but normally this is where I would be at, but I got noise in the background, too. Right.
That's exactly perfect right there. That's where you want to be. Yeah, you know where you want to be. So when you leaned in, you got heavy on frequency response, and you got a little distorted on your ALC overdrive. But where you were last is perfect, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. That's normally where I operate is right here, and I normally run AM transmitter. I got a homebrew AM transmitter with a whole audio chain in front of it, but I've never had to deal with the internal systems of a solid-state transmitter, modern variety. So fixing to retire, so I'm going to diversify and pick up some more hand gear before I get to retirement. So we'll start that here in December, and I got the gear, so I'll get it right and have some. Let me turn back to you, and I'll look you up on YouTube and listen to this thing. WA4JK.
Roger, Jerry 3's that way, sir. And like I say, we'll post this within the next couple of days, so probably sooner than that, but outside the next couple of days. And just check with YouTube for our Qso-Vlog page by our call sign, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and this QSO is entitled to My Group Air Check 8919. So 3's to you, sir. You have a real good afternoon, and we'll catch you later. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. So this is KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV.